He's Andrew Hello, Dominic.
How is that?
Shalendra, pleased to meet you. How do you do? Hello, how are you doing?
From my own.
Yes, our media contingent.
Yeah.
Can I offer you?
No, thank you.
Okay, should we just go on through? Our studio operator is a couple of minutes away.
Okay. How's the voice going?
Are you nice and relaxed?
Yes, thank you.
Great, so I'll put it right there.
Excellent. Thanks, Hannah. So, Yana, are we rolling? Are we all good to go? Shall we? Okay. Sarambuka. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. It's great to see you in the country. Obviously, you're in Auckland visiting the expat community from Fiji, and it's an election this year. The coming election, Sudelpa is promising to make Fiji free again. What does this mean for Fijians? What changes are you looking to make?
Well, first of all, the high-profile freedom that we enjoyed in our media is no longer there. We have one of the newspapers in court, and one of the newspapers enjoying a lot of work from government, while the other one is starved of work from government. People are still restricted in what they can freely say, but there was a very good demonstration of the relaxation of some of the laws that have been in place in the big march in support of Israel that was done, was it yesterday or the day before? A big march in Suva in support of Israel's 70th anniversary of the establishment of the state. We're seeing some, but it's still not enough. The sedition law is still there, while most of the countries have decided to do away with sedition laws because it demonstrates real freedom to objectively criticize governments. Now, election can be better. There are some doubts about the free and fair election profile of the 2014 general elections. The debates in Parliament are not open and objective enough. The opposition needs to be given time to objectively debate on issues raised by government. So those are some of the things that are not free right now.
So those are some of the key issues you'll be addressing. So, for example, sedition. I mean, that is, it goes right to the stem of existence for Fijians because that is very hard to describe, and yet anything can be construed, well, not anything, but there's a lot of things that can be construed as sedition and have been by the government. You'll make Fijians feel more secure in their ability to express themselves.
Yes. We may not agree, but we will agree to allow you to give us your opinion. And those are the things. You know, I may not agree with your views, but I will defend your views.
So open to criticism.
Yes, I'm open.
Wonderful. What does this mean for a sugarcane farmer in the west, or a villager in the Bar Valley who's suffering from the effects of climate change? They've just been through 2 cyclones, flooding. That their future is desperate in the west now. What are these promises of freedom? What do they mean to the average Fijian?
For them, it's really not very much. For them, the the promise of giving them better access to quality facilities in the social services side of education, health care, um, old age assistance. Those are the things that will probably be of more meaning to the villager and the cane farmer. The upgrading of infrastructure to the areas to facilitate better access to their own farms, the development of more markets for their produce. Uh, those are of more meaning to the to that social level, the workers level, minimum wage, which we need to raise. It is something that we had not really thought about. I didn't think about it until we put it into our manifesto, and I started paying my workers the minimum wage even before the election. And my family members came back and told me, my daughter said, Dad, that was a very good thing to do because the workers are now very happy. They can have their hair done almost whenever they want and need to have it done. Instead of cutting each other's hair at home, they do that well. So for them, the social issues will be more meaningful rather than intangible promises of freedom.
What about the military? When you first rose to prominence, the military has been prominent in Fiji, and these days it's very prominent still within Fiji. Its role as a police,
Yes.
accompanying the police inside Fiji. Will this change with you at the helm?
Yes, it will change because we would like to leave policing to the police and leave the army to be the government arm, governed by the act and also directed by the minister and cabinet on what it does, rather than having any prominent initiatives in the maintenance of law and order. They should also be in support of the police. We need to also lower the profile from a military to a development arm of government. In the past, the army was quite enjoying a high profile in our regional development, cyclone rehabilitation, even road construction, in assistance, providing assistance to the public works department. So those are the areas that we can bring back for the army. We'd like to maintain our profile in peacekeeping in the international scene, but more in our assistance for development at home. Not so much as a military force, but as a construction and development arm of government.
One of the issues that the current government seems to ignore is the identity of Itoke, what it means to be Fijian. There seems to be this push to some kind of homogeneity of Fijian society, South Asians and Itoke being this. But I mean, what about Itoke themselves, the identity that is Fiji?
Yes. Well, the identity of Fijian or Fiji citizenship has never been in question. We are all citizens of Fiji. The 1997 Constitution had us as Fiji Islanders. Before that, we were Fijians for Itoke and Indians for those with Indian origin, Chinese for those who came from China. Nobody seemed to mind. And then we hyphenated the names into Indo-Fijians and Chinese Fijians and so on. When we come abroad, we can all be Fijians. Vijay Singh was enjoying high profile in golf, and people were calling him the tall Fijian golfer, Vijay Singh. And he didn't mind. But sometimes he says, "Oh, I'm Indo-Fijian. My name is Singh. You look at me and my features, you will rightly believe that I'm Indian, but I come from Fiji." As the late Archbishop Petero Matava said, no matter how long we have been here and whether and how we got here, we are now all sons and daughters of this land. So the question of a common identity can really be revived. I propose the term Fijian, because it's not a Tokay word, in 1987. And it was not popular with our own people because they had identified Fijian to be Itoke. The problem with Itoke is that it is a very specific word, Itoke word, which classifies owner of the land. Itoke. Bumiputra, Tangata Whenua, Itoke. The sad thing about it is that whoever is not Tokay is Bulangi, and in Fijian means alien or stranger, and it doesn't have a good connotation in our interracial relationships.
But I guess where I'm going with this is Itoke Fijians, you talked about custodianship of the land with the Itoke, and that is the financial security and strength of Itoke people is their connection to the land, whereas traditionally in Whakawhiti, in Fijian society, commerce has been traditionally largely the domain of other parts of Fijian. How do you propose to move this forward?
We would like a participatory development of the ownership and the landlord and tenant relationship. Most countries around the world started with a formula, and it became a universal formula. The 6% of unimproved capital value was quite universally accepted. But now, as generations are denied the use of their own customary land, the Tokay is asking whether that formula can be revisited and revised so that they have a fair return on the use of their land. If they're going to be denied the use, then they must have a fair return. So that is the issue on the land tenure and land ownership.
What about the role of traditional Itoke institutions like the Great Council of Chiefs? Would you look at reintroducing that?
It is part of our manifesto. We would like to reintroduce or bring back the Great Council of Chiefs. It is very easy for me to explain the role of the Great Council of Chiefs to New Zealanders because after our interview this morning, I'm going to see the Maori King. And people in New Zealand understand that you have a Maori King. He may not have any constitutional role in the governance of the land. He may not have any executive authority over the Maori people, but they have the mana. They have their position in the culture of the land. So the Great Council of Chiefs and the members have their own mana and the old chiefly wisdom that a lot of governments have benefited from. I have always regarded the chiefs as the main stabilizing influence in our times of turbulence.
Amongst those chiefs is Rote Momokepa. How is your relationship?
As the members of the party, she is the leader of the opposition. I'm party leader. We work together in the party. She had some misgivings about my coming into the party because of my coup leadership background, 1987 coup, which she did not approve. And I have apologized to her. I've tried to say, look, we cannot change the past. I'm here to help the party. And in fact, I wanted to help in 2014, but it was not to be. The women tried to project, or wanted to project, a party that was coup clean, if you can call it that, that had no associations with coup instigators. Particularly because at the time the objective was to defeat Frank Bainimarama's Fiji First Party, which he led as a coup leader. So it was not, it was incongruous for those who were trying to oust and vote out a coup leader to be led by a coup leader.
Now, this last decade in Fiji and in the South Pacific in general, it's seen quite a strong geopolitical shift of external power and influence. It's become, Fiji's relationship with its traditional partners in the region, Fiji with Australia and Fiji with New Zealand, has been kind of a yo-yo, an off and on relationship as the different governments change and the different governments have a stronger or not so strong focus on Fiji. But within that, there's been an increasing focus from China. How do you see this working? How do you see future international relationships working for Fiji in this geopolitical way, in the best way for Fiji to move forward? Of course, New Zealand has now announced an aid increase to the Pacific, overseas development assistance for the Pacific, including Fiji, and reasserting its strength of relationship with Fiji. How do you see this all kind of playing out for your country?
Thank you very much. We are very grateful that Sir Winston Peters has announced that increased assistance, and has emphasized that he wants to see free and fair elections. Which brings us back to, you use the word geopolitics or geopolitical relationships. Which one is constant? The constant of the two is geography. And geography had dictated our strategy in the past and our international relationships. We had a common geographic interest to keep our part of the world free of other types of governments and influences and governance that were not part of our area. We share our history of settlement by indigenous people and later settlers, and our background as colonies. So I believe that as we go on from here, we should not lose track of what and where we have been. And the strategies of the past and our international, our bilateral relationships in the past had been dictated by geography rather than politics. Because of that common background. So Australia and New Zealand had always been very close friends of the Pacific. It is therefore said that because of politics and political jolts that we have had, that Australia and New Zealand, because of their interest in politics, they forgot the importance of geography and turned away because our quality of politics was not right, particularly the democracy. So I hope that as we move forward, we will constantly be reminded of our common interest as a region. So when China and the so-called northern powers, Northern Fiji, started showing an interest, it was to fill the vacuum left by both Australia and New Zealand and to some extent America, our traditional partners, our allies, our war allies, turned away from us because of our politics in 1987 and again in 2006. So it is sad that we couldn't rise above our political differences and retain our emphasis on our geography and our location and our region as a source of security. We didn't have any trade pact, but we didn't have any defense pacts. But in the past, we'd always been on the same side of the battle lines. And we respect that, we honor that, and we are very thankful to the allies of Fiji who fought with us in the First World War and the Second World War. We had very small contributions, but we participated for a common strategic interest and the maintenance of our region to be free of foreign influence. What we tried to defend against in war, we have now openly embraced in economics and politics.
And will that continue?
Not if I would like to restore a stronger relationship, regional relationship with our traditional partners. We are more certain of how to walk with our traditional partners than walking with someone big and new.
Hey, thank you very much for your time. It's great speaking with you.
You know.
The civil unrest, sorry, not civil unrest, but the industrial unrest with ATS,
Yeah.
Nandi and so on.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing, that can't continue either. It's just,
Well, it is a very simple one.
yeah.
If it had been handled in the normal industrial dispute machinery.
Because it was all there.
Yeah,
Everything was there
yeah. And when the law, it was taken to the law, it was not admitted, in my view, that not properly administered.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful.
You're not
Thank you very much.
going to